The Valentine's Day surprise. It was Valentine's Day, and Lucy had been eagerly anticipating the evening. Her boyfriend, Mark, was everything she had hoped for. Their relationship had grown stronger over the past year, and she had no reason to think anything would ruin this special night. She had dressed up in her favorite red dress, her hair styled perfectly, and her excitement radiated from her as she glanced at the clock. 7:30 p.m. Mark will be here any minute, she thought, checking her phone again. She had already confirmed the dinner reservations, and they were set for 8 p.m. This Valentine's Day was supposed to be perfect, just like the one they had talked about for months. But, as the minutes ticked by, something started to feel off. 8 p.m. came and went, then 8:15. Mark was always on time, yet now, he wasn't answering her texts. She sent another message. "Where are you? I'm getting worried." But no reply. Lucy's hands trembled as she set her phone down on the coffee table. The flickering of the candles cast eerie shadows on the walls. The house, which had once felt warm and inviting, now felt suffocatingly quiet. She couldn't shake the nagging feeling that something wasn't right. The clock on the wall ticked louder than ever, almost mocking her. It felt like an eternity had passed. Finally, the doorbell rang. Lucy rushed to the door, relieved. She opened it, expecting to see Mark standing there, a big grin on his face, holding a bouquet of roses, ready to sweep her off her feet. But there was no Mark. Instead, there was a single bouquet of perfectly arranged red roses. The kind of roses she would have expected from him, but there was something strange about the way they were placed, almost as if someone had just left them there. There was no note, no sign of Mark. Lucy's heart skipped a beat. She looked around, expecting to see him standing somewhere in the shadows, laughing at her confusion, but there was no sign of him, just the soft, swirling snowflakes in the air. With a frown, Lucy took the bouquet inside, closing the door behind her. As she set the flowers on the table, she noticed a small card tucked underneath them. It was sealed in a crimson envelope. Curious, she opened it and read the message inside. It was short and simple. "You should have stayed with me." Lucy froze. The handwriting wasn't Mark's. She could tell right away. Her heart began to pound in her chest as a wave of panic washed over her. She thought back to the time they had spent together. There was no one else. It was only her and Mark. Was someone playing a cruel joke on her? Or was it something more sinister? Her phone buzzed on the coffee table. Lucy grabbed it, desperately hoping it was a message from Mark explaining everything. But when she checked it, she saw that it wasn't a message from him. It was from an unknown number. The message was brief. "I'm still watching." Lucy's throat tightened. She quickly looked out the window, half expecting to see someone standing there. But the street was empty, blanketed in a thick layer of snow. No one was there. "What the hell is going on?" she whispered to herself, trying to calm down. It felt like the walls were closing in on her. She texted Mark once again. "Where are you? Why haven't you replied?" No answer. Her mind raced, trying to think of any rational explanation. Could something have happened to him? Was he stuck in traffic? Why hadn't he told her anything? Just as she was about to dial his number, she heard something. A faint scratching sound. It came from the direction of the door, but when she turned to look, the door was still closed. Then, a knock. Soft, but deliberate. Lucy's body stiffened. She approached the door slowly, peering through the peephole, but there was no one outside. She swallowed hard, trying to convince herself it was just the wind, or maybe her mind playing tricks on her. But the knocking came again, this time louder, almost frantic. Fear surged through her. She took a step back from the door, her heart racing. Was it Mark? Or was it someone else? Her mind was spiraling with terrible thoughts. She glanced toward the clock. 9 p.m. She hadn't heard from Mark in over an hour. She couldn't wait any longer. Grabbing her coat, she quickly went to the door and opened it, looking out into the cold, snow-covered night. No one was there. The street was eerily quiet. The air felt thick with tension. And then, her eyes fell to the ground. Another bouquet of roses, identical to the first one, lay just beyond the doorstep. Lucy's stomach turned. She stepped forward, slowly reaching for the bouquet. There was something about this that felt wrong. Something about this just didn't sit right. She picked it up, and as she did, her eyes caught a glimpse of something. A shadow moving across the street, just past the tree line. Her heart skipped a beat as she looked more closely. But before she could react, the shadow was gone. With trembling hands, Lucy stepped back inside, closing the door behind her. She turned the bouquet over, expecting to find another card. But there was nothing this time, just the roses. Then, a thought struck her. What if Mark was in trouble? What if something had happened to him, and he was trying to send a message? Her phone buzzed again, but this time, it wasn't a message. It was a missed call. From Mark. Her hands shook as she dialed his number. It rang 3 times before going to voicemail. Mark? Mark, where are you? She whispered into the phone, her voice cracking. Please call me back. The house felt even colder now. She looked around, feeling a sudden weight in her chest. The roses on the table caught her eye again. They were so beautiful, but something about them, something about the way they appeared, so suddenly, made her feel like they were watching her. The front door slammed open, sending a shock of terror through Lucy. She gasped, spinning around, but no one was there. Just the cold wind howling from outside, filling the room with a sudden chill. She ran to the door, slamming it shut and locking it. Her heart hammered in her chest as she tried to calm her racing thoughts. She turned back to the roses on the table, and that's when she saw it. The card. It was there now. The same card she had found earlier, except this time, the handwriting was different. It wasn't just the words that had changed, it was the message. This one read, I told you to stay with me. Now, it's too late. Lucy's blood ran cold. Her stomach churned. Something was wrong. Terribly wrong. Just as she reached to pick up the card, her phone buzzed once again. A new message. This time, from the unknown number. She opened it, her hands trembling. It's too late for you, Lucy. I'm already inside. The room went dark.